Hi there, welcome to Samaraland. So in this week's vlog, I wanted to talk about something a little more serious. I was reading this article last night about the long-term effects of Ritalin in children. Ritalin is the drug that's used very popularly to treat ADD and ADHD. And I wanted to share a story of something that happened to me because I feel like it's very important. So when my son was in preschool, he's 9 now, but when he was in preschool, when he was about 4 years old, he was having some difficulty there. He was having some issues with other children. He was also like twice the size of pretty much all the other children. So that added to it as well. But he was unruly. He was a typical boy. But he was definitely having some issues. And the preschool asked me to have him evaluated by a neurologist, psychiatrist, just to see if there's anything wrong. And he also rocks. So they were concerned about him rocking and, if he was on the spectrum or, okay. And it was something that we had been dealing with for a couple of years at that point. So obviously, I want to see what's going on. So I took him to this neurologist slash psychiatrist who was supposed to be amazing. And I brought him in and I sat down with her first and she asked me some questions about him and spoke to me for about 20 minutes. And then she brought him into the room and she observed him in the room and spoke to him for about 8 to 10 minutes. Then she sent him back out into the waiting room. He was with my mom. And she turned to me and she said, okay, so your son has ADD and these are the medications that you can put him on. And she literally handed me a list of drugs and started saying, well, we can try Ritalin, and if that doesn't work, we can take it back a little bit. We can try Wellbutrin, and if that affects his appetite, then we can just pull that back a little bit more, but we could try this, and if he's sleepless on the... And I'm sitting there looking at this woman, and I'm just like, what are you talking about? And she's like, well, what's the problem? And I said, I'm not going to put my 4-year-old on drugs. What, are you crazy? And she looked at me and she was like, well, that's your decision, but I have to tell you, most parents come back. Well, I never went back. And at that point, I felt like he was too young, for sure, for me to do anything that extreme. And we worked hard on behavior modification, and I tweaked his diet some. And I have to tell you, by the time he got to kindergarten and first grade, he was fine. And yes, he still has some issues, but all kids have issues. But for the most part, he does great in school, and he's a wonderful child. And he listens almost. But it's just a cautionary tale, If someone tells you this, for sure, go get a second opinion. But, these doctors are driven by drug companies, and they're encouraged to put people on drugs. And I'm not saying that it's not good for some people, for some kids, and I know some kids need it, and they do well with it. But don't be so quick, it's just my opinion, but I'm really, really grateful that I didn't do it. And that's all. See you soon.